I'm gonna go ahead and get recording. So, hey guys, how are you? Happy Tuesday, team training. I'm super excited to be here with you to close the month strong. We have 1 week left of March. And so, if you are new here and you don't know who I am, my name is Katie Harold and I am your Presidential Diamond Upline. I am here in now Sylvania, Ohio. I moved about 25 minutes down the road, still in the Toledo area. And I have been with this business for almost 7 years. In May. And so it's really crazy to say. And so you guys, we have been doing this every Tuesday, having a different ambassador on to share their story. And we have the amazing Susan Wade on this evening. And Susan, I know I didn't tell you this, but I asked the girls, who do you want to hear from? And they requested you. And so it was amazing that you were available. And so I had put in our team page that you are kind of one of the OGs of It Works. You've been around longer than me, which I feel like at this point, if you've been in longer than like 7 years, 8 years, you're basically considered an OG in the business. And so you have been here for so many different seasons. And I know that a lot of us have looked up to you since the very beginning. And so what I would love to start with is just hearing your story from like the very beginning of where you were at before this business and how you even found it, all the way up until where you're at now. And just don't even leave anything out. We want to hear everything, the good, the bad, the highs and the lows. And everybody is very excited to hear your story.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is the first time I've put mascara and lip gloss on in like two and a half weeks. So it gave me like a really good excuse. This work from home life with the kids not giving me a break is very interesting, but we're doing really well. So I started in 2012. So, I mean, it's been 7.5 years. So very close to how long you've been in. I was not looking for this. I was not, it wasn't even on the radar. However, we were struggling a little bit. When you look at where we were financially, I was working as a nurse. I was a newlywed. He was working. We would have been okay. Like we were kind of just paying off a little bit of debt. He had school loans. But again, it was just us. And I really wanted to have a baby. And he was like, my husband's like, no, like, I know you're going to want to stay at home. And on my income, he was like, we're not going to make it. And so he came home from work one day and was like, you're not going to believe this, but my boss just offered me this like really big promotion and I'm going to work, over the next 6 to 9 months. He said it'll take, there was like this big plan that they had and that they were pretty much handing him this promotion. And I mean, his income was going to go from like $40,000 a year to like 80 to 100,000. So replacing my income for sure. And I was a registered nurse, so I wasn't making great money, but both of our incomes combined was very helpful. So at this point, I'm like, this is perfect. Going to be the stay-at-home mom. We can move out of this like rental home that looked like it was not like my dream at all. I envisioned like the white picket fence and like having the kids and like doing dinner parties. And I literally was living next to a taco stand, and God bless my husband. Like that was really all that we could afford at the time. And yeah, he was so excited when we moved in, and I was like, I probably looked like a spoiled brat because I did not want to live there. So that's where we were. So we were getting out of this mess. Like I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. And so we got pregnant. I quit my job and he worked really hard. And then a month after she was born, my daughter, his boss was like, oh, congratulations. You've worked so hard for, 9-10 months, riding your bicycle to work, working 60 to 80 hours a week. We're not going to promote you anymore. We're just going to promote your title so you look important, but we're not going to give you any income increase. And we were like, what? So I was out of job. I'd already posted to Facebook telling all my friends I was a stay-at-home mom. And Michael's like, yeah, you're going back to work. And I was like, no, like that's not part of the plan. So that's where I was when I found It Works. I just wanted to try the wrap. I really didn't have $25 to spend, but I did it anyway. And it was a girl from college that I'd seen posting about it. You guys, when I say I did not want to be a loyal customer, I did not want to be a distributor. I didn't even think a distributor, but when she explained being a loyal customer, I was like, that's not for me. My husband just walked in, so I'm like distracted. You're just so good looking, babe. um, anyway, now I'm getting flustered because he's dancing. So that's where I was. I didn't want to do any of it. But then when I tried the product and it's like God, honestly, it was like a God thing. I'm reading y'all's text. It was a God thing because I tried it and I was like, what if I could make money doing this? And I didn't even think like big picture, you guys. Like I didn't think I was going to be some like network marketing professional and get on stage and make like thousands of dollars. I thought, okay, if I can just make enough where I could find my dream job again, because I was working with like newborns. That's what I like doing. I thought this will just tide me over. So a lot of you are talking to women right now that they're just looking for like short term, and that's where I was. I wanted to go Ruby in 2 months, didn't go Ruby in 2 months, didn't hit my goal. But my third month I went Ruby, and then I went from Ruby to double diamond on my fourth month. I say it now, and I don't even know how it happened, okay? But it did, and I went 2 months later, triple diamond, and then Melody McFarland came in and was like, let's get excited. If you can go presidential, you can go to Dash and meet Mark Pentecost. And I was like, okay. So I went presidential diamond in 10 months, walked across the stage at my first conference that next January. And it was just, I mean, that year was like a whirlwind. I went from wanting to make like a little bit just to tide me over to going, whoa, like, what if you could quit your job, Michael? Like, this is crazy. And then, I still had big goals. Like I wanted to go ambassador, you guys, and I wanted to do it fast. Okay. Because everybody wants to be fast and everybody wants to be like, part of their friend group, the first one to hit it. I did not go ambassador for another year and a half after I went presidential. And that was like really, really hard for me because I'd had all this momentum, and then I like beat myself up because I thought, well, what's wrong with me? Why is everybody else promoting and I'm not? Looking back, it was the biggest blessing ever because when I went ambassador, I was ready for ambassador. I had the volume. I had like double the volume to go ambassador. And now I've never lost my rank, and we've been stable even with leadership leaving throughout the years. Like it's always been perfect in terms of stability. So around the time I went ambassador, we hit Millionaires Club that year. And then I got my 2.0 account, and I was one of the first, technically it was me and Cami Pentecost. When she was in the business, I went presidential in 10 months again. And that was crazy because I thought I was you have those thoughts, like, what if I'm a one-hit wonder? What if I can't do it again? And I did the exact same things, went presidential diamond. I'm still presidential diamond under my 2.0 account. But that's just, again, where God wants me, and I'm still working towards going ambassador. It's been 7.5 years. We are no longer living next to a taco stand. Around 2013, we bought a very lovely home in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. We lived there for about 5 years. We had 3 more babies. I have 4 girls now. Their ages are, 2, 4, 5, and 7. And we just bought our dream home back in June of last year, and we now live in Sarasota, Florida. It's been wonderful. It works has provided us income to keep our home back in Mount Juliet, so we now rent that out. And we were able to purchase another very tiny home to rent as well back in Nashville. So we own 3 homes, which is just crazy even saying that. I don't say that to brag. I tell you guys this because 2 other homes that we currently own have income coming in. And so It Works has allowed us to have real estate. And so we have other options happening for us, which is just really, really nice. My husband's home. And now with the coronavirus, I can show you guys my schedule. Like, if y'all can see this, it's got literally the times of like when I homeschool my kids. Literally they're doing their stuff, and I'm like messaging people. I mean, we're just making it work, right? All you mommies watching, like you just do it. Like no one expected this. And so I'm right there with you. It's just a stressful time, but I mean, how blessed are we that we're able to do this along with, the craziness of the world. So.
Oh my gosh, that's such an incredible story. It's crazy because like I remember your ambassador promotion. I remember watching like the videos of you and Michael with like the team contests and everything, and I thought one day I'll be presidential, and it's just like so crazy to like think back and talk about that. So, what do you think like, in the last 7 years, what have been some of your biggest obstacles like in the business, and how have you overcome them? I realize that's like a very general question, but like what sticks out to you that was like a hurdle that you were able to get past?
Um, Three things that stick out to me. So this summer of 2013, so technically like my first real year in the business, right after I went triple diamond, I had a miscarriage. So my first daughter was around 9, 10 months old when we found out I was pregnant. And then we ended up seeing the baby's heartbeat. And then the next day I started bleeding. And so that was hard. I had this plan. If you've been through a miscarriage before, it just kind of like hits you like so hard, and it affects everybody differently. And I blamed myself a lot. I like blamed the stress of promoting. I thought, well, what if it was the products I was taking? Like, I mean, anything that I could blame, I did. And so that slowed me down just for a little bit. And, but I had a great team rallying behind me, and I got out of bed and I realized like, okay, like God's going to take care of this, and he has a plan. And I ended up getting pregnant 2 months later with Whitley. And looking back, I'm like, wow, like I can't imagine my life without her. So as much as that was like really difficult, I was able to get through it. And Pam Souter, she's like, take 24 hours or however long you need, but then you need to just get out of bed and get back to what you're doing. So that was hard, but that wasn't the hardest thing. Probably the hardest time in my business was, and if you guys have been in long enough, you guys remember the very first cruise. I had earned the cruise, and corporate was nice enough to allow my husband to go on the cruise. I was actually 37 weeks pregnant with Emmeline, my third child. And I'll never forget, my husband was out. It was the day before they were supposed to go on the cruise, and he was out shopping, getting like luau gear or something. And I got the phone call that his dad had committed suicide. And that was awful. Like it was awful. Not only being pregnant and just having the extra hormones, but just having to like call my husband and say, hey, you have to come home. Like, I didn't even know, so that was like really hard. And planning a funeral, none of his family like was able to afford it. So that came out of, we paid cash, which like you guys, it works, like did that. Okay. Like looking back, that's just such a miracle. I ended up delivering Emmeline a couple weeks later. And so I had postpartum depression right after that. I didn't realize how bad it was. Like looking back, I realized how bad I was feeling, a lot of those mommy blues, and just really depressed. 5 months after Michael's dad died, we got the phone call that my dad was in the hospital, and he said, I'm short of breath. Can you come see me? He was only 3 hours away. Michael stayed home with the kids. I drove 3 hours. Literally within 48 hours, he was in the ICU, unable to speak. I was by his bedside for 2 weeks, and we turned everything off, and he ended up passing away. So that was 2015, into 2015, into 2016, which is so crazy looking back, because that was around the time that I was able to hit that promotion, going Prez 2.0. And saying it out loud, it's like, how in the world was I able to promote in such like that's the hardest thing I've ever gone through, those 5 months. But God, like he was the only, like looking back, I can't even explain it. I worked my business the same. I posted pictures just of my life, which was in the ICU, or, taking care of my kids and doing what I normally do. And I just brought people in and showed them my life. And so that's just a really hard thing that I went through. And I did use the business a lot to cope. Some people hide and they don't want to work their business. I kind of did the opposite, where I use the business as a coping mechanism almost too much. And so I'm just being vulnerable with you guys. I worked so hard that I started neglecting my friends. I started neglecting my husband. I started neglecting, my children. And Michael had to sit down with me and he was like, okay, like this, It Works is not your number one. And I'll never forget that conversation. And it really wrecked me. So I've gone through like a lot of seasons in my business. There's never a perfect balance, but through the 7 years, it's like, I finally am on a groove, and, things are going to happen. Things like this, like what's happening in our world, like something is always going to happen, and you just have to be ready to mold yourself and change and be able to realize, okay, like what a blessing this is, and I'm going to make this work no matter what.
Oh, I love that. It's so true. Like a lot of people retract and they don't want to work their business, but you were able to continue through that. So a lot of the girls want to know, so you've got, and I can't believe that Vivian is 7. Like,
She'll be 8 in August. She's in 2nd grade, so she'll be going into 3rd grade. Like, we're working on her 2nd to 3rd grade work right now, which I'm just like, oh my gosh.
and I feel like I remember when you first became pregnant with Emmeline, which was you guys her 3rd, and I'm just like, what is this? What is this? Time is like flying. But so, some of the girls want to know, what does your daily work schedule / routine look like with 4 kids? And if you could give an example of how the day flows for you, which I know currently things are a little bit more bananas. So, but before all of this, what was your everyday like kind of flow and schedule like?
Okay, so when we first moved here in June, we had help. We had like childcare 3 days a week. Okay, so like my life looked different. We never have had family help, so we can't just call our parents and say, hey, we're gonna go on a date night. Like we can't do that. But we did have a nanny for a few months. She ended up quitting around Christmas time, so it's just been my husband and I. Which a lot of you watching are like, yeah, well, I don't even have help from my husband. Like he goes to work or whatever. So my story is going to be a little bit different, but I hope you still learn something from it. He is so great about knowing, because we do communicate. We've learned over 7 years that like I have to tell him what I need and he tells me what he needs. And so he knows I need sleep. So if I stay up till 12, 1 o'clock, whether it's talking to my team or, closing that loyal customer, the distributor's like on my website and she's like not answering back. Like he understands that. And so he's over the years realizing I need to sleep in a little bit. I need to get that full 8 hours, because honestly, you guys, like I can't function without sleep. I have thyroid issues and all that. So we've learned like he kind of takes over the morning routine. Once I'm up, I usually I try not to check my messages right away, but I get my stories ready. So I'll like pull, pictures from Pinterest, get into my Unfold app or Over, and at least have something to post about the coffee and something to post about the opportunity. So that way I'm either able to get somebody as a loyal or send out sample and get my cash. And then I can have people voting to send my messages about the opportunity. And I'll be honest, like, post to post is great for my team, but that's just not, like maybe one day I'll grasp it and go after it. But right now, like polls are my way to get into people's space and have those messages throughout the day with my kids. Like it just works for me. And I'm constantly adding new people. So I'm constantly getting new people voting on my polls. Even if they're accidental, it strikes up new conversations. So when I wake up, I usually do that. So I'm laying in bed, that's like when I get creative. Then I get up, he sees me make my coffee, and then I kind of take over. Right now, normally they would be going off to school. So I would have 2 to 3 hours. My younger ones only go to school for 3 hours. So I'd have that time. Right now I don't. Right now it's like I have my coffee because I've gotten my sleep. I have my coffee. We're ready to start the day. So it's like, hey, Vivian, read this. And then I'll message someone. And I have everything on text replacement, you guys. Like I'm never Like for the most part, I'm not just sitting there making stuff up in my head, like having to think, because being organized is going to save so much time. And if you have children, like y'all know, like if they're crawling, you can't talk to somebody or come up with something to say. And a lot of times I will send voice memos because it is so refreshing sometimes when they can hear, hey, I'm so sorry, like my kid's crawling all over me right now, but let me tell you about this. It's relatable and real. And so again, I'm making it work through those hours. They have breaks. But on like away from Corona, like we've got nap time. So anytime my girls are napping, that's the time that I can get, to talk with my team, maybe make a team page post, whatever it is. I do not have, for the most part, like a schedule, just because my day is always different. But Michael and I have communicated that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, those are technically my work days. So those are the days where like I get to focus more on the business. And then Thursdays through Sundays are family days. Those are the days I'm usually out taking pictures.
Don't push this cord in a while.
So if I'm like with my family, that's when I get all my material. Okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays is when I'm doing a lot of the meticulous work and I'm doing a lot of the following up, and I still follow up. Fridays follow up, but I've just noticed that it's more of me being outside the home, me taking pictures, being with my kids, showing that I'm a real person. While Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, that's when I'm pulling reports, putting a cover photo for my team, showing who the top enrollers are. Does that make sense? So the reason I'm saying all this is because you have to communicate, whether you have the support from your spouse or not. You have to communicate, hey, I'm going after this promotion and this is what I would like to see happen. If I'm able to do this, then what can you do in return? And there's things that like he sees that I do for him, and then he turns around and does things like it's all about communicating. And so it's taken us a while, and we've never been perfect, but this is one of the best years of my business because my marriage is so good, and it's all about communicating what you need. So I wish I had a schedule to give you. I really don't, except for kind of what's working now. And right now I don't, besides my homeschool schedule, literally it's like, okay, let's go get in the hot tub again, because my kids are in bathing suits all day long and it saves me on laundry. So
that's funny. Yeah, I know that obviously right now, like everybody's schedules are going to look way different.
So different.
So, I guess let's address the elephant in the room. How are you keeping your team and yourself focused through this whole crisis when the whole family's home and, other people are worried about what's going on? How are you kind of keeping everybody,
So I already had a chat with my Diamond and Above leaders that we, for the most part, are talking in there usually. So I'm continuing that conversation, and I will just pop in and say, how's everybody doing? Like just checking in. And they're honest with me. And I will even say things like, hey, private message me if you need to chat. I'm having more phone calls than I've ever had. Not out of fear, but just like checking in, and people wanting just to hear my voice and hear me say like, hey, like everything is good. I didn't make the post. I got it from a friend, but just saying how, with Starbucks, there's still lines of cars of people trying to get their Starbucks, and they're spending $6 to $9 a day on Starbucks. In the middle of this pandemic, in the middle of all this craziness, they need their Starbucks and they need it now, and they're willing to spend $6 to $9 a day. And that's something like we need to remember that yes, there are going to be people that are going to say, I don't have the money, or it's just a hard time right now. And that's okay. Put them on your list and you'll follow up with them after all of this is over. Okay. Maybe they're going to get a tax return. We don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, a lot of these people that are giving you that excuse, a couple months ago, they would say, oh, it's Christmas time. Like I can't afford it. Or before that, oh, I've got something coming up, I just can't afford it. So a lot of these same people will always have an excuse. There are people out there that are ready. There are people out there that are wanting to spend money. You guys, I've literally like sat around and I'm like, what can I buy? And I've had to like stop myself. I'm like, I need to go to Target.com, and because I haven't been to Target in a while. It's like, what am I doing? There are people out there that are just like me that are ready to spend. Okay, I have subscriptions to Beauty Pie, different websites. Okay, and I don't know why I need to get new shampoo and conditioner and a candle for my kitchen, but here I am on beautypie.com. So I'm saying this because there are people out there that want our products. And no matter what, nothing's going to stop them from wanting to get healthy, lose weight. I need my fat fighters more than ever right now. So people are at home. They are looking in the mirror and going, I just gained 10 pounds from the coronavirus, and what is happening? And so they are going to need us. They're going to think about us. They're going to see your post. Oh my gosh, so-and-so was posting about that skinny coffee. Could I drink that and maybe be full and not eat my entire pantry? So just keep that in mind. So anyway, I know I'm rambling, but those are the type of things that I'm communicating to my team. And what an amazing time for this opportunity. I feel like right now you're going to have more people watching you than you think, and more people that originally had said no to this business start to open up and go, I'm so desperate that, yeah, I'm going to contact her. So they say every 6 months there's some type of life change and people can change their minds, just like what happened to me. So you got to be consistent. You have to keep them on your follow-up list, and you have to keep going. So those are just some things that I'm communicating. I think also, and this is just speaking from personal experience, I think there's a way to be real with your team and honest and not sugarcoat and act like everything is great. Enrollments are wonderful. The world is awesome. It works what are you talking about? Like, okay, because I've heard some people talking that way and it annoyed me. And I'm like, I'm not going to be like that for my team. Like, I'm just not. Am I going to talk amazingly about, hey, this is a great time to get your enrollments up. This is a great time to promote. There are people that want this. Yeah, I'm going to talk like that, but I'm not going to sit there and act like there's not something that's never happened in It Works history before. This has never happened. But you get to decide, am I going to run my business in fear, or am I going to run my business with faith, and I'm going to take it each day? I've told Michael, I'm going to take this day by day, and I'm going to do the same things every day that I normally do until, God forbid, something strange happens and I can't work my business from my phone anymore. I'm going to keep going every single day. Nothing's going to change. So that's what you need to communicate with your team. And I think just being honest with them and letting them know, if you're concerned or have any questions or any fears, please feel free to come to me. We can talk through it, because the worst thing you want to do as a leader is be so positive and so peppy and turn away negativity that your team never wants to confront you with anything. No doubt, no fear. Because I know people like that and they struggle in their leadership. And I'm like, well, your team's scared of you. They're scared to even come and have a conversation. So I think just being honest, but having that trust in corporate and having that trust in It Works is so important. And I love this business so much that I'm like not afraid to say, like, I trust corporate 100%. So whatever happens, they've got our backs.
Right. And I think that they, just seeing how quick they were to say, okay, we might have to cancel all upcoming events, but we're going to have, It Works from home twice a day, every day, starting tomorrow. We were like, whoa, they were on it.
Yeah.
With that. And so you guys, that has been such a blessing. And, Cammie's been sharing with us like the kind of the schedule, what language it's going to be. And they just, like you said, it was trusting corporate that they just had a plan. So many good things that you just said. Okay. So as far as being productive, like, do you have something, like I saw on your phone, your, like the homeschool schedule, but do you have something that like kind of keeps your productivity up so you know that you're getting your work tasks completed throughout the day?
I used to have like a checklist And then I've done it so much that like I literally won't go to sleep and like, for example, my follow-ups. I have a follow-up system that I just use it on my phone. I have like my calendar, just my iPhone calendar, and that's how I follow up. So every single day I go through my list. If they don't respond, I move them to the next day. If they happen to give me a specific date, I move them to that day. Like everything revolves around my calendar. Even my personal stuff, like Michael and I shared, like you can color code things. So that's how I do it. Some people have to write it down. Use any type of calendar. So like I won't go to sleep. It's like already ingrained in me, which I know if you're a newbie and you haven't been in very long, like that's not going to be natural. So if I were you, I would make a list. Okay, every day, and I guess some people like call it like a 6 list. Like every day I'm following up. Every single day I try to do at least 1 to 3 polls a day. I would say like usually it's more than 1, like because I have to be talking business and talking product. I'm always adding new. And some people are like, well, how do I know who to add to my social media? I'm a big Facebook girl, so Instagram's a little bit different. I still work Instagram, but for my Facebook, the way I add people is like when I see ads when I'm scrolling, because again, don't get sucked into scrolling. Use scrolling as like a working tool. So as I'm scrolling, you guys, do you know those, I don't even know how to say it, but like flat iron ads or makeup ads or like the Honest Company, any type of like beauty or mom, anything that's like normal stuff. Okay. Target.com. I will look in the comments. I will click on their name. Does this look like a normal person? Does it look like someone I would want on my team? Are they active? Are they engaging? I look at their comment. If their comment's like, you suck, Target, I'm never buying from you, am I going to add them? No. I look to see their comment. Is it positive? Do they talk normal? Okay, let me go look at their profile. That's how I add people. And so I'm adding people that aren't people that are connected to people on my friends list. I don't go to people who I may know, because most of those people are friends with you guys or friends with my team, and I don't want to step on toes. So I'm just so random with who I add. I'll even go to certain profiles, and if they look really good, like this person's random, she's not in network marketing, she posts every day, I'll go to her. If she has her friends list not hidden, I'll start adding people from her friends list. So then when she goes to add me, she sees I'm friends with all of her friends, and then she accepts me. So, that's the third thing. I always am adding new people. And then I'm engaging as I'm scrolling. I'm not just liking, I'm commenting. Someone once said that like when someone changes their profile picture, like that's a huge given, like to give them a compliment, because a lot of people change their profile picture, and even if they're not so much active on it, Facebook anymore, that's what they're wanting to see. They're wanting to see, oh, did people notice that, I've changed my profile since 2018. And so that cues them to go, oh, I haven't heard from Susan in a while. She goes to my profile and maybe she likes what she sees. What are some other things? When I'm looking, so not only just putting a poll out there and being engaging in my story, but when I go to see who votes on my story or who views my story, I don't cold message, but in my mind, if someone views my story, they've now come into my space. They are now fair game, okay? So if I were to so let's say, Katie, you didn't vote on my poll, but you viewed my story. You're fair game. So I'm going to say, hey, Katie, I've noticed you've been viewing all my stories on the opportunity. Are you open to hearing more? And I always say, are you open? Because like, she's going to sound stupid if she's like, no, I'm closed-minded. Sorry. So most of the time they're like, sure. And then I'll send a voice memo, or I have just like a very, I have like a 2-step script that I use. It's just, and I alter it with whatever promos are going on, but it's just very personal. And one of the biggest things I say when talking to potential distributors at the very end is I say, I get this question a lot, so I just want to put it out there. You're not required anything monthly to keep your business going, because a lot of times people, when they hear network marketing or MLM, the number one fear is that they're going to be charging my card every single month. And so I make sure that I put that in there. Now, do we want to encourage auto ship? Absolutely. But when you're talking to a potential, I put myself in, like back in Susan 2012 shoes. I did not want my card being charged. I was broke. I didn't want that. And so it's a lot of psychology. If you've been in It Works a while, you have to do that. You have to go, what would I want to hear as a brand new or a potential person? And that's why those voice memos are so good. So engaging with my polls, seeing who's looking at them. I'm not posting as much on my wall on Instagram and Facebook. Some days I'm like all like happy and love to post. But I'm noticing that I'm getting a lot of my signups right now from my stories. What are some, okay. And then of course, like engaging with my team, you know, making sure I have different chats depending on like different legs. Sometimes I'll do like fun incentives. So just making sure that I'm there and I'm present with my team. I feel like I'm missing something. There's something else. I'll think of it, but whatever it is, like you need to write, whatever it is, you need to do it every single day and you need to be consistent with it, because that's the number one thing that I've noticed with people that are new is they will be on a roll with their stories or posting or host to post for like 2 days, 3 days. And then they like for a week and a half, like don't do anything. And then they'll come back and they'll do it like for a day. And then they'll write me and go, nobody is enrolling. Like I can't do anything. Like I don't know what I'm doing. And then I'll go to their profile and they're just not consistent. Another trap that people get into is they focus so much on setting up Zooms for their newbies, like every single night, and they're just super overwhelming. Training is great, but manager mode can really distract you. And Mark Pentecost always says your job is to enroll loyal customers and enroll distributors. And yes, like maybe 10 to 20% of the time you can train and be there for your team. But if you right now, if all your focus is like encouraging your team and you are not enrolling, that's when your chart starts to fall apart and you feel like, why is everybody leaving and my volume's going down and everything's falling apart. You guys, I'm going to be honest with you, and you may have newbies on here and I don't want this to scare them at all. This is business. This is any network marketing company, okay? The reason that I have been able to maintain my rank and be successful is because even after I hit ambassador, I continue to enroll. I continue to have more layered leadership rise up, to the point that when I did have a leg from my ambassador team leave, I had another leg popping up. Oh, look, maybe another leg's thinking of leaving again, but I have another leg over here popping up, or another leg deep down popping up. So constantly always encouraging my team, we are always building. We're never just rebuilding. We're just always building. And Mark said that, I think a year ago at conference, we are always building. And so that needs to be your mindset as you're charting. If you're looking at this chart in front of you and you're still writing people's names down that you haven't even had communication with for 6 months, but there's still volume there, erase their names. You can stack people, but for the most part, like I tell, and I know I'm rambling, I tell people all the time, I would rather you be a strong ruby than a flaky double diamond, okay? I'm gonna say that again. I'd rather you be a strong ruby than a flaky double diamond, because it is going to, when you get that ruby chart out and you see, oh my gosh, I have 3,000 in volume and I have 3 strong legs, you're gonna go, your mindset's gonna switch and you're gonna be like, okay, now I'm ready for emerald. What do I need to do to go emerald? Instead of looking at a double diamond chart, you may have the boxes filled, everybody's a disaster, and you wake up every day so overwhelmed that you don't even want to work the business anymore. Do you see the difference? So that's just something that's really helped me personally and also my leaders. So I know I kind of went on a sidetrack right there, but I just feel like someone needed to hear it.
No, that was good. That was really, really good. And I love that you said, like, you know, if one thing happens over here, we've got another team emerging in another place. And so That was really good. I wrote down lots of things. Okay, somebody asked in the chat if you have certain times of day that you post, or is it just random?
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It is so random. I do try to space out I'm not gonna put like a poll for the Thermophyte and then immediately do my poll for the opportunity. So like as someone's clicking, if all they see is it works, it works, it works, it works, they're gonna unfollow me. So I make sure that like, okay, here's my poll about the Thermophyte, and then I may do like 5 different things with my family or me being silly or a TikTok video. Then I'm gonna do my opportunity post. Does that make sense? So even though it's not scheduled or certain times of the day, like I am still strategic about what I do, because again, psychology, I put myself back into the potential shoes. What do my viewers want to see? Because y'all, at the end of the day, we're not selling the opportunity or the product, we're selling ourselves. And then they're going to fall in love with you, and then they're going to go, oh, I like her, I'm going to listen to her, I trust her, that's a Skinny Coffee, or Skinny Brew, I'm going to try that because I like Susan, she's funny, or I relate to her, whatever it is. That's just the honest truth. So you have to really, when you're working social media, you have to put yourself in their shoes and make sure that your whole profile is not just Skinny Coffee all day, every day. It works, black and green. I don't have it in my profile. Like, I want people to see when they come to Susan Wade's profile, they're getting Susan Wade. They're going to know I'm, high up in a company. Maybe they know it works, maybe not, but they know I'm important and that I love what I do, but I give them just enough where they're going to be in my inbox asking questions, or I'm going to, reel them in. If you give them everything up front, then it's like they're going to already make assumptions. You won't even know that they're interested. So if you're brand new on this Zoom, that's my biggest tip, is to stay true to who you are. Give them just a little bit. Never post your website in comments. Always say I'll message you. Because if you're going to give everything on that comment, again, someone's going to scroll right by. Oh, they gave me all the info that I need. I'm not going to ask her anymore.
Yes, and I love that you said like putting different things in between. I'm the same way. Like if I put up products, I gotta put some. I almost call it like filler content. Like what am I doing
Right.
throughout the day? Something funny.
And that comes natural.
Yeah.
Like it's not something I have to write down anymore or make myself like a checklist.
Right.
It's just something that comes natural. But you guys, if y'all been in long enough, you have to remember that like your new people don't know this, and so it is super important. Like, let them know when they sign up, hey, do you need me to look at your content right now, like, and give you my honest opinion? Pam always says, when you're talking to someone, say, can I give you some honest feedback? Are you open for some honest feedback? And if they say no, then okay, that's fine. But most of the time they'll say yes. And then when you give them like critique, they don't take it as personally and they don't get as defensive. So just look at their content and remind them like, hey, stay true to who you are. That's in all my training. Like, we want you to stay you. Because honestly, I'm all about attraction marketing. It doesn't mean that I don't message people. I message people all day long because they're in my space. They somehow come into my space, whether it's a like, a comment, viewing story, whatever, but it is attraction marketing. And this is a skill that you have to learn. A lot of your newbies aren't going to just jump in and know that you can't just post share videos and memes all day long. Like, that's just not going to work. You have to still have a very presentable profile, but you can still stay true to yourself.
I love that. I think it's so important. It's something that we don't talk about enough because we know these things. We've heard it a million times, but we don't talk about it enough. And it's so helpful to new distributors to know this extremely simple information. So, okay, so real quick, when you have a newbie sign on at this point in time, I feel like our business changes so much,
Yes.
even with everything that's going on in the world. Now we're switching all to Works at Home online. And so when you bring a new distributor in at this point in time, what are your first couple of moves that you take them through?
So I have I keep this as like a note in my phone, and it's just titled New Distributor. So it's a folder. I mean, I'm just going to like read it to you guys because it's step by step. So I say like, welcome. Okay, first let's talk about your website. And you guys, this is another thing. Talk to someone as if they're sitting across from you. I used to like talk like I was a computer or professional. Like I looked like, no, talk to them like they're normal. So I say, okay, so first let's talk about your website that was just created for you. Facebook and Instagram will block our website. So let me show you how we can get around that. Do you know your website name? You guys, I used to not ask this, like you won't believe how many people sign up, they don't even know their website name yet, okay? This is so like spoon feeding, but it's important because how are they supposed to sign a customer without knowing their website? Okay, so then they say yes. Like I had a girl sign today. We went through this. She was like, yes. And then I said, perfect. Okay, so this is how you're gonna send your website. And I send her like just like, you know, the little bullet points instead of using the dot, like I do the little symbol, the big bullet. So I just say, you're gonna do firstname.itworks.com. I said, okay, do you know your username and ID and password? Username, ID, password. And then they say yes. I say, okay, awesome. I want you to log into your website. I tell them to fill out the tax forms. Once you've done this, there's a training academy that you can watch. Watch maybe a few of those today, maybe finish it over the next week. I said, heck, some even finish it right away. Literally, I have it. Heck, some people finish it right away. It sounds like I'm literally typing it to them. They don't know I'm copying and pasting. Let me know once you've logged in and see what I'm talking about. So I'm not asking them to watch the videos and then get back to me. I'm ready to dive right in. So like I tell them, hey, your training academy is there. Let me know once you like know what I'm talking about. Let's move on, because training academy, like we're working on making it a little better. I'm just being honest. So like I'd rather them go to my training right now, which is in the team page. I don't know if y'all are the same way. I think Katie like understands what I'm saying. So then I say, okay, back to Facebook. This is where you're gonna get your most support. Request this team page, add them to my team page. This is where you're gonna get your team training. There's modules, yada, yada, yada. Read each post, it's step by step. You're gonna learn everything. No, you will learn as you go. And then I say, you will not retain everything right away. Please don't stress out. It's why you have me for your questions. And then I tell them we have trainings every Monday night and I give them the time. So then they request the group. Again, it's step by step. Then I have them download Connect. And then this is something new, is I make sure they know how to download the sample app, which is within Connect. So essentially I'm saying, let me know when your 2 apps are downloaded. This girl literally, this took 5 minutes, y'all. It sounds a lot. This took 5 minutes because guess what? She was ready to get started. You may have people that like lollygag around. You can still be there for them, but this is the crucial time where I kind of figure out, is this someone I'm going to give like a lot of time and like be, you know, this is where I kind of see their personality and see how they learn, maybe what their color personality is. So the last thing I say is take a deep breath. The most important thing we want you to do is get your first 6 loyal customers. You will earn $150 product credit towards any products. And then I included the $50 bonus that they just announced. Y'all, this literally happened Sunday night. So I say, you know, although you're going to get extra time, we're going to do it in your first month. Okay. So I'm telling them about it, but I'm saying, but we're going to get right to it because you're not going to lose that $50 bonus. This is the important part. And it sounds so silly and simple, but I say, do you know how to explain what a loyal customer is? Because you can jump into host to post and all these things like right away, day one. But if your distributor cannot explain what being a loyal customer is, I don't care what script you give them, they need to be able, like if they're talking to their aunt tomorrow and they're like, I just joined It Works. And they're like, hey, how can I support you? I don't really know. Like they need to know what a loyal customer is. So I copy and paste that over because they all say, yes, I need an explanation. I say, awesome. So let's get to your first post on social media. After making that first post, let's start getting you through your units. The reason I say this is the first post that I have my new distributors make on Facebook is, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to tell you guys. Like it's like a kind of an edge, gets them on the edge of their seat type post. So I let them do that they leave it up for a couple hours. So that's when they do their training. And then they get right into it. They can start doing host to post. Some will make an announcement post, and I give them like an explanation. I like to get right into just making like, I'm looking for 3 people that want to drink coffee and lose weight, whatever. Just very like simple. And then they're on my team page. They go through my units. I have 10 units. One of them is a posting unit. It has like a posting guide for loyal customers, a posting guide for opportunity. It's just so I think the most important thing, especially because everything is always changing and always, I told someone the other day, there's always going to be the new person of It Works that we're going to go to their profile and like see what they're doing, what's working, TikTok, whatever. But at the end of the day, product and what a loyal customer is are super important. So they need to know what the heck they're selling, and they need to know what a loyal customer is. If they don't know that, if they don't even know how to log into their eSuite, there's some trouble there. So I think that that's super important to do, and let them know that you're here for them when it comes to posting. And again, we talked about how, hey, I'm here if you want to put me in a chat to do like, even if it's to close the deal for somebody. I have people do that all the time, and I'll just help them. And then they see how I'm talking to their potential, and they're like, oh, I can do that. So that's what I do. And then in this same folder, this last thing I'll say, and I'll shut up, in my same new distributor folder, that's where I have the quick explanation of a loyal customer, making your new first post, giving them an example of like that first host to post that they can use, posting content. Like I have like the things that I really like for a new distributor on here, even though it's in my units. So I'm not just saying, go to the units, talk to you later. I'm walking them step by step.
I love that. So as you're telling us this, so your training academy, it's not a separate page, it's part of your team page?
So my units, yes. So it's like, I think the way I did it a while back is like, you just change the settings in your group to like a learning, there's different one. I think there's 2 different ones, because I have 2 groups, and for some reason they're different types of groups, but yet I have units on both of them. But if you like, this is one of my groups. Mindset, we're the M&Ms. Mindset Millions is so cheesy. But they just click this units button right here, and it just starts 1 through 10. And on unit 1 is a video that I made. So a lot of people don't want to watch a 14-minute video because it does go through a lot of stuff. So I just make sure that everything is in the units, regardless of whether they watch the video. So just to give you like a breakdown of like what I have is, I have my welcome post. So their enroller can tag them in it. And then I have a unit called Your First 30 Days. So this is talking about downloading the app. It's a lot of things I already went over. Downloading the app, not waiting for the kit. What are steps of success? Unit 3 is loyal customers. What is a loyal customer? How to enroll a loyal customer. Unit 4, sharing the opportunity and product. So I have product descriptions, a potential distributor script. And then I have like a post that even says what to do in 1 hour. I found this from somebody, and I forget who it was, but it's like, if you only have 1 hour to work your business, what are some tasks that you can do? And I can send that to you. It's like 15-minute follow-up, 15-minute engage, 15-minute message, 15-minute make a post. Like, it's like breaks it down. Unit 5 is on posting. Unit 6 is on earning those bonuses and rewards. Unit 7 is training your own distributors. I think this is really important because a lot of people will get in and they're like, okay, Susan, you're going through all this step by step. What do I do when I get a new distributor? I'm not going to know what the heck. So I literally have, what I just read you guys, step by step, I have that already in this unit. So they can do the exact same conversation that I just went through with you guys without any hiccup. Unit 8 is how to promote to Ruby. It's literally a Ruby chart. Unit 9 goes over samples. The reason I don't have the sample app like so far up into the training is because at the end of the day, we want to get loyal customers first. I love handing out those samples, and I think it is important for them to get, send out their 3 digital samples, but a lot of people get overwhelmed with that. So I just, when they're ready for it, it's in there. And then unit 10 is host to post. So those are my 10 units. And you can like add videos in your units or whatever. A lot of my stuff's just really short posts.
I
Sorry.
love it. That's such a good idea. We've gone back and forth and experimented with lots of different things, but I really like this idea. So
I did, I had an event within the group one time, and then I had to keep changing like the date that the event ended, and it was just a big mess. And I couldn't, like people were posting in there and I couldn't like admin it. It was just really weird. I've done like a separate group, and then I was like losing people. I just like it where here's my group, tag your new people in it, unit 1 start. So at the end of the day, if even their enroller hasn't given them anything, including that text that I send them, that step-by-step, they can start with unit 1 and they should know what the heck is going on. And I've talked to Cami about like, we've been talking just utilizing like making the training academy kind of similar, like with the Connect app, doing like a checklist or some type. So they're always going to be growing and expanding, but for now, this is what's working for my team. I would love one day to be able to kind of incorporate what corporate training is with my units, but right now this is what's working. And I'm very good. If y'all can't tell, I'm super red, but I'm very green. And I don't know. Do I have any other green personalities on the Zoom? Like raise your hand.
there's one she's not on, but there's
Okay.
a couple. There's a couple.
So I was just gonna say, like, that was probably my biggest downfall in the beginning, is that I wanted to overwhelm my distributors and throw up on them and wanted to act like I knew everything, and it slowed me down. And I think that's when in my 4th month I was like, okay, I just need to simplify steps to success, get your customers, let's get your product credit. What is a loyal, like I literally made it simple, and that's when my business started to expand. And they say network marketing, to be successful in it, it's all about the domino effect, all about duplication. So if what you're teaching one person cannot duplicate to 50 people, then you're doing it wrong. And so you can be a top recruiter all day. You could sign 40 customers a month. But if you can't turn around and you're not having your team do the same thing, then you're no more successful than someone that teaches someone to get 2 customers and they teach 50 people to get 2 customers. I guarantee you the person that taught the 2 customers is going to make a higher paycheck than the person over here who they're the only person working on their team being a top recruiter. And that's not me being ugly. It's just that is the truth of how to be successful in this. So if you are signing 40 people, let's see if your team can turn around and do the same thing. And that's when you're going to go Black Diamond. So that's my goal.
And Susan, you make the duplication so simple, because so many times we've talked about on our team, like, well, now we need to put it out there of what to do when you sign a new distributor. And so I love that that is at the end, and so they can duplicate what you just did. So I love those ideas so much, so much. So
and anything you've heard tonight, like I'm like, whatever, I will copy and paste anything, you guys. I don't care.
Thank you so much. You guys, it's so funny because whenever we have a VIP call, we're like, Susan, are you on this? Are you on? She's like, I'm on it. I'm on it. She's always got like the detailed notes.
Like on the days that I'm like, wait, I wasn't on it. Like, did anybody take notes? And it's like crickets, because like nobody else takes notes. I'm like, oh my gosh, come on, guys.
Oh my gosh. Well, one more thing. I want to close out with your vision, but one more question before I get to that is personal development. You can keep this super short because we've already been at an hour, but like, currently, what are your most favorite personal development? Either books, Audible, podcasts?
The Prayer Jabez right now, that is like my go-to. It's not necessarily like the personal development that people think, but for me and my faith, like it is having more faith each day to like ask God to bless me and continue to blessing me, and like not feeling guilty doing that. I learned that a lot from Brittany Hayes. She has been somebody that like, I'll be in a meeting with Pam with her, and just when she says the conversations that she has with God, she's like, I don't feel guilty when I ask God for things. Like, he loves me, and I'm not afraid to say, hey, God, like, will you bless me tomorrow with 3 distributors, like things like that. And so I've learned that book learned me to grow my faith in God and teach me how to pray in a way that's still honoring God and like uplifting him and saying like how amazing he is, but also not being afraid to say, hey, thank you not only for my blessings, but like continue to bless me, continue to open up these blessings for my family. And so that book's really huge. Michael over the years is like obsessed with Jim Rohn. And so even though I'm not a big reader, when I do listen to his audio, it is just incredible. I take like notes, and that's something that I've been passing down to my team. What are some other things? Honestly, like since moving here, we do a mindset with Pam each month. And y'all, that is my like personal development. I leave her house and I'm just like, okay, I'm ready to go make $1 million. So if you haven't been listening to her podcast, she is so wise. And I just love that she gives such, like anybody from other network marketing companies could listen to her and learn things, but because she has been in the field and she knows what we do, it is so relatable and just, it's so helpful. And I've seen a lot of my distributors that were in a negative mindset change by listening to her. So,
oh, I love Pam's podcast. I love what you said, that she was in the field and not just the network marketing field, the field of it works, you guys. So she has a great podcast. So Susan, this is what I would love to close with. I would love for you to share with us your vision because, you've been at so many of the top retreats and you've spent so much time, like you said, at Pam's house and with Mark and Cami. And I would love for you to just talk just for a minute about the vision of It Works, the vision for you and your family. Just paint this picture for us because, yes, although we are in a time with some uncertainty, this will pass. And
yes.
so I would love to hear the vision from you.
Yeah, so this reminds me a lot about what people talked about, and it hasn't even gotten bad yet, but just thinking out loud, like if like, let's say a warehouse closed down, you guys, I'm not saying it's going to, I'm just saying like, what if, like think of the worst thing that could happen. Our cell phones go out, okay, whatever. It reminds me a lot about hearing when they had the wrap shortage and also like the change in their IT when they changed over the websites. Like so many people freaked out and left, and those where if you look at our numbers, that's when we boomed. Like literally, we just went crazy after those periods. It's like when people decided to give up and walk away was when this huge shift happened and It Works went crazy. And so I think about that in the back of my mind. I'm like, if the worst thing could happen, I am not going anywhere. Like I am here to stay. Just like Katie said, like we're going to get out of this, but that's not even happening right now. Like literally things are, and I'm not being the rainbows and butterflies person, but things are going really, really good for the way the country is going. Does that make sense? Like we're the most stable, I feel like, compared to everybody else. And it's a very sad situation. And so I'm very blessed by that. But just being in Costa Rica and hearing, before all this, hearing Mark's vision for what he's looking for the year and how he wanted to go on another run for 2020, it may be tweaked a little bit. We might be like a little bit behind his schedule. Mark is very competitive. Okay. Like I saw him on game night and I literally was like, okay, this guy, like he and Cindy were like, it was crazy. He's competitive, which means he doesn't like to lose. So like at the end of the day, he's not going to let It Works lose, you guys. We're a debt-free company. He wants to win. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. And I always have that in the back of my mind that I don't lack any faith. Like I have no doubt that this is going to just explode soon. If not, it's already happening. So he just has a big vision. I remember back in I think it was 2014, he said, hey, I have got plans for your family, but I've also got plans for your grandchildren's families, like all the way down the line. So he's not looking at this to one day sell it or just give it up. Like it's a family legacy. And so it's going to continue on. And I'm just excited that my family is going to be a part of that. And again, I hung out with Kyler the other day. He's the same way. Everybody we're just ready. We're ready for this next boom. And I feel like what's happening right now, it's like going to propel it. And it's a weird, peaceful feeling, even though everything's crazy right now. So yeah, I think I've just been in long enough to know this is not going to slow me down. And I'm just super excited.
Thank you so much. I love hearing like all the things that went on in Costa Rica. And I literally just got chills when you were like, Mark will not lose. Like, he will not let us lose. And, you know, I was just having a conversation with one of my distributors earlier, like, no matter what happens in business and in life, like, I know that we have it made here and we're not going anywhere. And so the fact that I know that he has our back, corporate has our back, it is such like a peaceful feeling in a time where other things may feel uncertain. And so it makes me feel good. So Susan, I know we went over an hour. I appreciate you so much being on and sharing.
You're
I told the
welcome.
girls, like, she is very straight to the point. She is on fire. She does not make excuses.
Straight
And
to the
so
point, I probably talked y'all's ears off. I'm so incredibly sorry. I'm kind of just like, I feel like I've been cooped up in my house. And so I'm just ready to just talk everybody's ears off, I guess.
Well, we loved it. We loved all of the tips, and I would love to pick your brain a little more about your units. And 'cause
Sure.
I feel like, especially with the half off kits, the distributors are rolling in, and so we want to make sure that everybody is trained the best that we can and all that. So we just appreciate you so much, and we appreciate you sharing it all, your story, all the tips,
Of
and
course.
we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Okay, good night.
Good night, everybody.